It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Mexico national professional soccer player Tori Vidales. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play professional softball?
It was kind of a weird journey for me. I knew that I wanted to keep playing and I knew that I would be playing with Mexico because I started in 2016, but I didn't initially get drafted through the MPF. And luckily there was some connections that happened through Scrapyard Fast Pitch. And from there, it's just kind of been opportunities coming at the right time. And I've just been able to say yes and gladly been able to continue my career. But other than that, I never really had it in my sights, but I knew that playing internationally would definitely be a thing. But I'm glad it all worked out.
What was your collegiate time playing with Texas A&M?
I loved A&M. I was only 2 hours away from home. I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and knowing that I was close to my parents and my grandparents, they were allowed to come to the games and it not be just like a treacherous long journey to come watch me play. But they've always been a really important part of my softball career and just my life in general. So knowing on that hand that I would be taken care of if I needed anything while I was off at school. I loved my coaching staff. Coach Evans is a legend in the game. I mean, she's a Hall of Famer. She knows what she's doing in the game and she knows how to connect with her players off the field as well. And so I knew the moment I went on my visit, really, I was like, wow, like I just got this feeling in my stomach. Like I know that this is the place for me and I wouldn't have done it any differently.
What was the feeling like putting on the Texas A&M jersey for the first time?
Oh, it was really crazy. So actually we played a couple fall games and we would play against junior colleges just from close by. And the very first game I remember putting on the uniform and just looking at my roommate and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I'm wearing this jersey right now. Like I'm wearing maroon and white. Like it says Texas A&M. Like this is not a joke. This is not a dream. Like it's real. And so I just kind of stood there in awe for a second. And then I was like, okay, let's go play. Like I was ready to get on the field. And I actually hit a home run in my first at bat. So that was a really cool experience, although it didn't really count towards overall stats, but it counted to me and I count it. So that's all that matters.
That's so wonderful. What were some of your accomplishments during college playing?
Oh man. I was a two-time All-American, once in 2016 and another in 2018. I was named first team All SEC a couple times, all defensive team a couple of times. I broke the all-time record at A&M for RBIs, total runs, and or runs and total bases. And my favorite stat of all time is that I finished my collegiate career with more home runs than strikeouts, which is like crazy to think about, but it's one of my favorites.
That's pretty impressive. What was the transition like from going from college to now professional with, of course, Athletes Unlimited?
I think just a lot more mental preparation, mental work throughout the game. In college, it's a very fast game. And that's the biggest transition, I think, from high school is to college and just how much the pace of the game speeds up. But when you go from college to professional, everyone's good. Everyone knows how to play the game at a very high level. And now you're talking about the best of the best of the best playing professional softball. And there's not a ton of opportunities for college softball players to continue their careers. So knowing that the that are there really want to be there and continue their careers, but I would have to say definitely just the mental, like I'm always learning something new from my teammates or maybe something that they learned at their college and I can share with them what I learned at my college, and we're able to kind of mix those in and learn from each other and get even better than we were in college.
What was it like to sign your contract for the Athletes Unlimited?
Oh man, it was such an opportunity that I didn't know what it was going to be like. And now I wish I would have been more excited whenever I signed. I was, of course, very excited and very like anxious to play, but knowing what I know now about Athletes Unlimited and being such a huge part of that in the first season, I wish I could show myself a slideshow of what it was going to be like, because it was just unmatched to anything softball has ever seen and probably will ever see. And I'm excited to see it keep growing.
Of course, what was the feeling like putting on the Athletes Unlimited jersey for the first time?
It was a little surreal just because we knew what the league was about, right? We knew it was kind of modeled around fantasy football and how you pick a new team every week. And so the points and everything, at first, I think you're like, oh man, how am I going to end up? Like, what is my ranking going to be at the end of the season? How is this all going to play out? But again, like I wish I could go back and just tell myself to soak it all up, because it was so amazing to be surrounded by such talented people and just great people off the field as well. Like I made some incredible friendships, played some really great softball, and I can't wait to be back for a year too.
Of course, with talking about that, are you talking more like you played like one game per team each week?
So how Athletes Unlimited works is there's 4 captains, which are based on the previous week's performances, the points. So it all goes by points. So you can win team points by winning the inning and then winning the game, and then individual points by stats. So a single is 10 points, double is 20, so on and so forth. And then at the end of the game, all of your points just go directly into the leaderboard. So you can constantly check where people are at on the leaderboard. And then when you go into the next week, every Monday, there would be a new draft. So you're not guaranteed to be on the same team every week. It just depends on who's the captain, and the captains were constantly changing. So it was just like all of a big mix of talent and all the teams and all the people coming together. It was definitely a new experience each week.
What is it like playing in the National Fast Pitch?
So I played 1 year in the NPF, and I played with the Cleveland Comets, who actually had an agreement to do with Mexico partnering with the Comets. So most of my Mexico teammates, we played, and that was kind of our preparation for the qualifier in 2019. And so it was a grind. I'm not gonna lie. We played a game a day every single day for like 2 months. And then on top of that, we had our international schedule with Mexico. So we had a tournament in Georgia. We had the Pan American Games in Peru. We just had a bunch of different things that we had to do. But I think all in all, it was a good experience. And I think we owe a lot of our qualifying and our success that summer to the MPF, because we were allowed to train and be together and play.
What was it like playing for the Scrapyard?
So Scrapyard Fast Pitch was the first team that took me in, and it was so eye-opening. I think you come out of college and you don't really know what to expect. And whenever I realized like, oh, wow, like everyone here is really good. They were all Americans. Like they all did phenomenal things at their colleges. Knowing that I had a place there made it a little bit easier on me mentally. Like, hey, I can come in. I'm just as good as them. I can do what they're doing, but I just got to earn my stripes. You know, I was still a rookie. I was still trying to find my way in the pro area of softball. And so it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a really large team. So I got to meet a lot of people that I played against for a long time, and just getting to know them as people, and then kind of finally getting a chance to work together instead of against each other. It was awesome.
Of course, how have you been able to balance being a professional athlete and also now being a broadcaster for SEC Network as a softball analyst?
Uh, it was really tough. I'm not gonna lie. The first year, I was assigned the Thursday Friday show in Charlotte, and I was living in College Station, Texas at the time. So on about Wednesday night, I would fly to Charlotte, do my show Thursday, Friday, and fly back on Saturday morning to try to catch A&M's games, to call A&M's games on Saturday and Sunday. So I would try to meet them wherever they were at or come back to College Station and call those games. But on top of that, I was also playing with Mexico in the spring, and we were playing against college teams. And we played in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And so when we played that tournament, I had to sacrifice a weekend of broadcasting for softball. So it's kind of like a trade-off. I love both of them, but I just had to choose and plan my schedule really meticulously and figure out what was going to work and how it all came together in the end.
How has the course of working with the SEC network as a softball analyst opened up many doors for you? So after, of course, your playing time, you have that back door of.
Yeah, so it's been great. I mean, I worked for 12 man production, such a mouthful, in my 3 years in college. So I worked it in 16, 17, and 18. And so they knew that I wanted to be a broadcaster whenever I finished my career at A&M. And I actually got the chance to meet Meg Aronowitz, who is a coordinating producer for softball at ESPN. So she pours her soul into softball. And once she found out that I was working there, some of the full timers at 12 Man Productions introduced us and were kind of telling her about me. So I got the chance to meet her and talk to her about what I wanted to do. And so I kind of kept in contact with her. And then once I graduated, they reached out and said, hey, this position's open. We want you to come audition. And I auditioned and I got the job. So after that, I think it kind of became known that like, this is not just like some side gig during college. Like this is something that I want to do. This is something that I'm good at and I enjoy, and I have the experience to back it up. So being able to play and then go straight into that, even I can do them simultaneously. So I could go play softball this summer in Japan and come back in spring and have a position there and be able to call softball games. So it's been awesome. And a lot of doors have been opened because of that. But I think it comes down to how hard you're willing to work for it and work around other things that are important to you and kind of lay it out on the table.
Of course, with your softball analytics, how has it helped you, like knowing that you are a player and you have seen what players go through, broadcasting that?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And that's why I think being a color commentator is so important, because that's the person with the experience and they can tell you in that moment what these players are feeling, what their approach is at the plate. If they bobble a ball and make a mistake, what are they trying to do? What's their next move, et cetera, et cetera. So to be able to put myself in their shoes, I've been there, done that. And I think every person that plays softball understands that, but our mission is to really help people that aren't softball fanatics understand that and get that point to them through commentating.
What was it like playing for Mexico national softball?
It's definitely challenging. I will say that international ball is a whole different monster, but I feel a lot of pride. I feel a lot of pride for my family, my grandparents, especially, knowing that they're from Mexico and they passed at a young age when I was at a young age. So I didn't get a long time to get to know them and dig into their life story and figure out who they were as people. So for me, whenever I put the jersey on, it comes down to representing my family and making my family proud, and especially my grandparents, and knowing that I am Mexican and that's never going to be erased from me. And so being able to kind of put a label on it with Team Mexico makes me feel really good. And I've loved my journey and the people that I've met along the way. Some of my best friends here, and we'll be friends forever.
What is it like wearing the Team Mexico jersey?
Kind of the similar feeling. I mean, it's very special, and all I can think about is my family and representing them and representing myself and standing up for the little Hispanic girls, watching college softball, pro softball, and knowing that, hey, one day I can be there too.
Of course, what are some of your game day rituals that you have per game?
People always ask me this, but I'm not a super routine or like superstitious person. So for me, the only thing that matters is getting a really good breakfast or lunch, depending on what our practice schedule looks like. And that's pretty much it. I focused it around food and just kind of chilling before the game. You can see I'm in a hotel right now. So we had practice earlier and then we'll come back, get a great lunch, and then just kind of relax and chill until the game time. So that way I don't waste any of my energy running around or doing anything that I need to do. But most of the time I'm ready to go any time of the day.
Who are some of the players that you look up to?
Growing up, it was so funny that you asked this because a lot of my teammates, are from California and they watch softball all the time, and they can name off the 2012 Arizona roster just like that. Like, it's insane how in depth their knowledge is of college softball and even pro softball. But for me, I didn't actually watch that much softball growing up. I remember loving Natasha Watley because she was a shortstop and I was a shortstop growing up. So that was like, ooh, I want to be like Natasha Watley, right? Everybody wants to find that one position that they think that is their own. And now look, I don't even play shortstop anymore. So it's so funny how all things kind of turn out.
Who are some of the players that are on your team that you look up to? For example, like Dallas.
Yeah, I think a big one is Sachelle Palacios. She's our catcher, and she has been on this team for, this will be her 9th year. She's only a year older than me. She actually started when she was 17. She played at Arizona State with Dallas, actually. And she is just such a bright light on our team. I always call her the heartbeat of our team because without her, I don't think we would function very well. She's constantly communicating with the pitchers and giving them feedback on their pitches when she's calling. She just has that aura around her that you want to be friends with her. You want to laugh at her jokes. You want to like just be near her at all times because she makes everyone around her better. And I really just don't know what we would do without her. She's such a great person and a great teammate.
What advice would you give softball players looking to play in college?
I would say just keep working hard. I think the biggest thing is a lot of people get so wrapped up in recruiting and trying to go to a D1 college. I would say just find the college that's best for you. Don't think you have to go D1 to be a successful college softball player. You want to take into account everything in your journey. What do you want to major in? Where do you want to be? Do you want to be close to your family? Do you want to be in a certain climate? What do you want to do after? So being able to set yourself up and know that college is not where you play softball is not going to be the be all end all, because you'll leave the program, but you'll also leave the university with a degree, and that degree will propel you in life past your softball career. So it's important to think about all aspects and not just softball.
What advice would you give college softball players looking to make it into professional?
I say just enjoy the journey. It's a long 4 years, even though it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it goes by in the blink of an eye, but just enjoy it. And when you're enjoying playing the game, that's when it becomes fun and you're getting along with your teammates, you're creating those memories. People will notice you when you're having fun, when you're playing the game right. And when the time comes, like, people will come and knock at your door and ask you if you want to be a professional, especially if you're putting up the numbers and all of that. But I say college is the most fun of all time. So don't let it go past you by thinking about playing pro. Focus on your time in college and it'll all fall into place.
That's great advice. What advice would you give future and current professional players playing now?
My advice would be to never stop learning. I think there's always things that we can learn about the game from other people, from other positions, whether it seems bizarre or not. But the things that you learn now are going to be things that we're able to give back to the girls, to the generation coming behind us. So never stop learning, continuously getting better at your craft, and create opportunities for people behind you, because we love this game and we want to see it continue and prosper throughout our time.
That's amazing advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
You can find me at Vidales Tori on Twitter, Instagram, pretty much any social media. Just Tori Vidales. I'll pop up and I'll be there with my Mexican flag.
Thank you again, Tori Vidales, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with Team Mexico National.
Thank you so much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Tori, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.